What's going on? Welcome back, my fellow Liberty lovers. Hopefully, y'all are seizing the day. I am still just getting my sweet tea vacuum sealed and whatnot. Little preparations for the Corona. And I ain't talking about the beers, but that's in my previous video. I wanted to, Trump just had a press briefing about 2 hours ago as he was departing the White House, and I took down some notes. It's about a 20-minute video, and you can go to the White House channel and check it out for yourself. But I just wrote down some key things that I thought was pretty interesting and cool, and so I'm gonna run through my notes real quick and just tell you what I thought about it. So right off the bat, they had talked to him about commuting a sentence, because he actually spoke about commuting several. Rob Liquovich, something like this. Also, Bernie Carrick and Mike Milton. Mike Milton, he touched on him doing phenomenal work worldwide on cancer research. The Bernie Carrick, he said he had got many recommendations from all types of people, and basically that's what he makes his decision on, is the recommendations, who they're from, and things like this. He said that he felt their sentence was unjust and unfair, that especially the Bernie Carrick, I believe. Oh no, the Rob Liquovich. He's spent 8 years so far in jail. He still had a lengthy sentence to do. His kids, I've only seen him in the orange suit. They're now going into high school. He recently has seen a interview that the wife had did on the news, and this guy is a Democrat. He's not a Republican. And I do want to say that I think that's one thing that we should all admire Trump for. He lived in New York, and yes, he was a registered Democrat for the majority of his life. But I don't necessarily am seeing truly favoring one party or another. Obviously, he ran as a Republican, and his actions do show he's a conservative. But I'd just say he's a badass American that cares about everybody in America. So, but that is, like I said, the guy that he did commute was a Democrat, not a Republican. So you can't say, oh, he just, commuted his sentence because he's part of his party or, affiliate. The other guys, like I said, the Mike Milton did cancer research. He felt that was unjust. And the Bernie Carrick, he didn't really mention much about him. It's just that he had an overwhelming amount of recommendations, and that they were pretty good, what they were saying. The guy seemed like a good guy, deserved to have his sentence commuted. Other things that were brought up was, he did speak about Roger Stone, and he said that he definitely does think that he deserves to, that he was treated unfair, and is part of the kind of the witch hunt thing. And also he said that he never worked for the campaign, which I was under the understanding that at the beginning of the campaign he did work for him. However, he did kind of say that he claims he didn't work for the campaign, but maybe before he announced, he did might have worked with Trump or gave him some pointers, and that he hasn't given any thought for a pardon. Now, I think that is probably just a little dog and pony sentence, because of course he doesn't want to be bombarded by the media or the haters, the anti-Trumpers, for wanting to commute a friend or something. But let's be honest, Roger Stone is in trouble because he exposed the Clinton crime family. We know that Roger worked for Clinton's back to Arkansas when he was a governor. He's been in politics his whole life. He's a damn good lobbyist. He's known for being able to raise money. And when Trump was running, he let a few of the Clinton secrets fly. And so I think this is the punishment for speaking out, which is truth, and letting the people aware of the corruption. Let's say, he also touched on how, Comey had that 78-page horrific report, in his words, and still got to allow Madam Secretary off You got people like Struck, the Mueller report, total bias, total phony allegations, completely made up, and still taxpayer money went to that. Nancy Pelosi stole from the Social Security funds to pay for this. So, I think there's, and speaking of her, Pelosi, isn't it funny when she ripped up the State of the Union address, she specifically broke a code 18C, and the fact that it's a low number means it's one of the first laws on the book. This was a government document, obviously, but it was also signed for the president. This is held up to even a higher standard than the normal government document. And for her just to rip it up and then get, praised that she's standing up for democracy or whatever, the hypocrisy and the bigotry is ridiculous. And it needs to be recognized and called out. Let's see. It also said how General Flynn's life has been destroyed. And then so he was asked about his social media because he had tweeted about the Roger Stone case or ruling. And, let's be perfectly honest. The Roger Stone's hearing was announced before he even tweeted. And I think that was the right thing by the Justice Department, especially speaking on what I just said, how it seems like if you are against Trump, you can damn near do whatever you want and you don't have to worry about the law. Or if you're pro-Trump, like, look at his sons. His sons they got summoned to go to court. They had to testify, 40 hours or something like that, several days of testimony. And then, Joe Biden's son, nothing at all. Joe Biden, nothing at all. I mean, if they were going after both parties or both sides of the aisle, we could say, at least they're being fair. At least they're being just. But we know that's not the case. This is total bias. So he says the reason why that he likes social media is because he's not getting a fair shake with the media. He's only getting negative coverage, which we can honestly say that is true. They don't talk about the achievements, the records that he's broke. How our economy has been turned around to what it was. All these jobs coming back. This dude has not even taken a paycheck. He takes $1 a year, and all his, $400,000 is what they make. $125,000 is cut quarterly. So quarterly, he's donating his money to nonprofits, vets, all types of research, medical research. He's for somebody that's narcissistic and only cares for himself, this dude seems to be pretty badass. So the reason why he does do social media, the Twitter and all that, is he knows this is how he can talk to us, the people, and how he can get the truth out without the bias, without the spin. And I actually appreciate Trump for that. I think that's one of the coolest things. I know that Obama did a little tweeting and, social media, but Trump has really taken that to the next level, and that has been recognized by many people on both sides of the aisle. So, he's like, he's not going to give that up. And he actually said that Mark Zuckerberg, the creator of Facebook, as we all know, just commented the other day that he is the #1 person in the world as far as on Facebook, reaching people, positive, negative, fans, anti-Trumpers, whatever, that it is very powerful. His message is very powerful on social media, and it is very important to him because he feels like this is the only way to keep us, the American citizens, in the loop of what the truth is. Like I've stated several times, I go to the source. That's why I am subscribed to the White House. I want to hear what comes out of the horse's mouth. I don't need to know what anybody else, they work with other agencies. They got other agendas. 97% of all media has donated or is part of the Democrat Party. So how can we get, truth, unbiased information if it's coming from one of the stooges? So I definitely like going to the source. So yeah, like I say, he doesn't think it's fair what he's going through and the coverage that him and his family has been getting. Um, let's see. Oh, he was also asked about China and national security. There, you something to eat? I get you something. Your banana's right there on that table. Eat that banana, and then Daddy get you something to eat in a second. He also, there's some American companies that want to sell some jets and whatnot to China, and so he was asked about the national security involved with that situation, and he says that national security will always be the number one concern of his administration, and he said, that America is number one in the world with tech. And, companies do want to sell, make profit. That's the whole purpose of capitalism. And he's afraid that if he doesn't allow these companies to sell products like jets and things to foreign countries, adversaries, that they will make a company in another country. That way they can still sell their product, which that's a very logical thought. If I'm in the business to making money and I make jets, the average person is not buying jets. So what do I need to do if the country I live in, that where I build these things, is not allowing me to export my product? What do I need to do to make a profit? Obviously I need to go to another country. So I would start maybe another business name, or a branch in another. That's a lot. That's why I value Trump. He thinks out of the box. He recognizes both sides, and then he comes to a logical conclusion, in my estimation. So he said that, like he has been hard on Huawei, national security is his number one concern, and allowing the free market to act like a free market and make products, create jobs, things like this. Let's see. He did touch on the war. We've been in. I got it wrote down, but I don't know. Afghanistan for 19 years, and there's actually been a substantial reduction in force. And he said that he could quickly end it all, but he just doesn't want to. He would end it all so fast that heads would spin. That was one of his direct comments. He said he's not willing to kill so many people, like a nuke. He said, or even conventional. He really wants. We're basically being the police out there. We're making sure everything goes accordingly. And I know America is not supposed to be the police of the world, which I absolutely agree. But at the same time, we have so many lives, so many trillions of dollars in rebuilding. Do I think we should have been in there in the first place? No. But with that being said, a lot of our deficit is to there, and with the lives, we don't want those people to die in vain. So I do understand, kind of staying there, overseeing operations, making sure it doesn't happen, or another organization like IS gets formed, created, and spans. So he did speak with Erdogan, and they're working together. There's a lot of tension in Turkey and Syria. He spoke on that. He's really wanting to do whatever he can to kind of sizzle that down a little bit. He also said that there is a big deal coming with India as far as trade goes, that it may not be done by the time of his re-election, but it will be done very soon after that. It looks really good, which is awesome. I think fair trade's a good thing. There's no reason why we should pay tariffs and why we should have a net loss when other countries are just, not paying anything. Fair. That's what it's all about, honest and fair. And then also, let's see, right at the end, he was asked, a reporter asked about Anonymous. He said that he knows who Anonymous is, he knows who the leakers are, and that there is an investigation underway, and that that probably will be coming to an end pretty soon. He also kind of made a joke that if he wants something to come out to be said to the public. He knows the few people he needs to tell, and then next thing you know, it's on mainstream media. He's pretty much figured out who the leakers are, and I think that's awesome. There's things I do think probably deserve to be leaked, but there is a lot of things. For as much as people want to, act like they care about national security and this and that, it seems like they don't care. So, I always find it funny how, what's not good for the goose is good for the game, is why one can do one but the other can't, that's just silly to me. So, he was also talked about, the corona situation in China. He said that President Xi Jinping is working hard and he has a positive attitude towards China, and that the last few days America has actually been over there giving a hand. He didn't really go into the extent of what the helping hand was or elaborate really on the situation. He just says that it's a horrible and dire situation and that hopefully it comes to pass soon. And I say I hope as well. See, Senator Murphy, he was asked about Senator Murphy. I haven't seen anything about this yet. I noticed Pete Santilli's, if y'all don't know Pete Santilli, the Pete Santilli Show, y'all should definitely check that out. He's an awesome guy. He was jailed for over, I want to say, 600 days for the Bundy Ranch incident. And miraculously, he decided not to go that day when the bus got shot up. But he did spend over 600 days in jail. He was jailed for his political ideology. And basically, Pete is an amazing guy. It seems like all he cares about is this country, and everything that he talks about is pro-America and with conservative and constitutional values, which I think the majority of us are, but we have been tricked to think that conservatives are the horrible people, the Nazis, what have you, when really it's just traditional values and what this country was founded on. And I believe a lot of people are conservative, but just don't really want to admit or acknowledge it, afraid that they will be called a Nazi. And to those people, I say, grow a pair, ovaries or whatever you're growing, grow them, Anyways, that Senator Murphy might have been, he might have broke the Logan Act, so I'm going to definitely check that out and see exactly what they're talking about. He said he had heard it announced right when he got out of the vehicle, right before the press conference, so he didn't state much on that. I do remember a couple years ago they were trying to hit him with the same thing, but unfortunately it was proven just to be another bogus allegation. Let's see. He did say that, we do stand with Guaido, and that they did just put some more sanctions on Venezuela, and that he's got upcoming rallies in Cali, Nevada, Arizona, and South Carolina. That the rally in Nevada will be the day before the Democrat primaries, and I think the same as with South Carolina, and that Secret Service makes a schedule. And the reason why I threw that part in there is because the pundit media woman asking the question, do you really need to fly back to Las Vegas each night? I guess because he's going to go to one state, then to Las Vegas, go to Las Vegas, I guess from Cali to Las Vegas, which is like an hour drive, 100-mile drive or something, I believe, and then Nevada, and then Arizona, which that's all real close. So I can understand. I know Trump owns a building in Las Vegas, and I'm pretty sure they can secure that building for his safety. So being the president, the number one, the most powerful person in the world, the most respected leader there is, it comes with a lot of enemies, right? So I would say that's for safety reasons. You can't really lock the Holiday Inn unless you don't allow anyone to rent a room or whatever, So that I totally get. Fly on top of the building, go straight to your room, boom, bang, you're safe, nothing to worry about. And then finally, I want to say that he did talk about Bernie Sanders. He said it's a shame what the Democrat Party is doing to Bernie. Now, I am not a fan of Bernie at all. I actually think he's the most dangerous person in politics. He's the most dangerous person this country has seen in politics in a long time. I also believe that he's in direct descendant of Karl Marx. I was listening to Michael Savage, and he was breaking all this down one day. And so, like I said, I just bought the Corrupt Powers, or Brian Seltzer's new book. I'm messing all this up. But when I get to the Bernie part of the book, I will be talking about that, along with Elizabeth Warren, Buttigieg. It's the up-and-coming Democrat hopefuls, and it's a book that follows their money, which leads to corruption. And like I say, he does this on both sides. It's not a Republican doing this. It's a guy that sees that this government was formed to combat corruption, and it was formed to be for the people and by the people, and what we're witnessing nowadays is not that. So I'm very interested in reading this book. When I do finish sections or chapters, I will let you know what my notes are about that. But back to the Bernie thing, he said it's unfair of what's going on with him right now, and that it seems to be repeating what happened to him 4 years ago, where he actually had more of the people's support, and the Democrat Party decided to run with crooked Madam Secretary. So, unfortunately, he wasn't able to run in the last election, which I must say that I believe that if he had ran against George Washington 2.0, President Trump, that might have been a real good close race. It probably would have been a good nail-biter. I personally would like to think that Trump still would have won, because I don't believe socialism, the idea of socialism, is what America as a whole is wanting. I believe it has to do with the younger generation mainly. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some older people out there, but if you're a student of history, you should know that socialism leads to communism. We can look at Venezuela, because they was the richest country in the world not too long ago, and they do have the most oil than any other country in the world. And reports out of there, a woman came over, I think it was New York Times did a story about this woman coming over, and tears were coming down her face when she walked into a Whole Foods, because she's seen toilet paper and all this food. And while in Venezuela, they literally are eating zoo animals, pets, dogs, whatever they can do just to maintain a healthy body. I mean, they have no resources, and it's very sad what's happening over there. Things are getting brought to them from other countries. Other resources are getting brought to them by other countries, and they're being turned away or not allowed in or not dispersed to the mass, to the public. We see that with any really dictator or tyrannical leader. And so I think that's the one thing about socialism. It's always promised everything's supposed to be good. Look at Fidel Castro, how he led the socialist movement. He ran on stopping the corruption and being for the people. And we could see that was not the outcome was nowhere near what was promised. As a matter of fact, it was actually opposite what he had promised the people. A lot of people that had fought for his side ended up dying. They got turned on. And so the saying goes, as soon as the guillotine starts tasting blood, it will eventually thirst for it and start swinging on the heads that helped it. So, just be a student of history, be logical, realize that if you've been in government for 40 years and you voted on the bills that are negatively affecting the American population, how are you going to be the person to stop it? Let's think logical. There's no way socialism, can work in this country. We can look to Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher says socialism is a great idea until you run out of other people's money. And we've seen that companies were already leaving under the previous administration due to NATO. Not NATO. The NAFTA, and the regulations. And if a company's not making profit, or if it's cheaper to outsource and then sell in this country, they will. And that goes with socialism. You know, you want to tax the millionaires and billionaires, which don't forget, after the last campaign, Bernie Sanders bought 3 mansions off that money, and he is now one of the millionaires and billionaires, just like your boy Obama. He went into office with less than $1 million, and now he's worth over $700 million. You know, so these people that, you know, give you this revolution and we're going to make the big man pay and all that jazz, when they get the money, they don't get, they do not care about you. That's the beautiful thing about Trump. His wealth is based on our economy. Yes, he knows he leads. Yes, whatever. He's got these magnificent properties and things like this. But a hotel business, you know, a Thai business, if the economy's not doing good and you can't rent a room in his hotel or you can't buy one of those beautiful ties, his company, his money, you know, he's going to fill that. So his number one goal is to make sure the American economy is rolling, kicking ass. That way you're doing good and you can spend your hard-earned money at places like a Trump hotel or one of those kick-ass ties. So, you know, it's just reminds me of the beautiful thing about true capitalism. And I know, you know, crony capitalism is such a thing. It's probably more widespread than we even realize. But with true capitalism, you know, in a free market, an honest free market, I really don't know any system that could beat that. So anyways, that's pretty much all I got to say. Thanks again for stopping by. If you want to see more about what I'm doing right here, check out the previous video. Leave a comment, drop a like. Peace.